May 17th, 2014, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final, New York and Montreal.
Kreider able to poke it on through, right around in front, oh, and he goes careening into Price.
Odds are, you know the rest. Carey Price was knocked out for the remainder of this series as the Rangers went on to win it in 6 games, punching their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final. Would 2014 have been Montreal's year otherwise? Well, in this video, we do whatever we can to make sure it was. And with minimal amount of words spoken, I welcome you to the start of this video. Thanks a lot to YouTube copyright, forcing me to shorten the majority of those intros, but it really is a scenario that speaks for itself. A lot of people think that the Habs' best chance in nearly the past 30 years to have won the Stanley Cup was this point in time, the 2013-14 season. Had Chris Kreider not run Carey Price, would this have been their year? I gotta be honest, I think Los Angeles would have won regardless, but that's just my opinion. We're gonna see what we can do. You know the deal at this point. No limitations. We go all in year 1. I was tempted to maybe not make any changes, but at that point, it's like, why not have it be a 5-minute video and just sim to the end to see what's up and whether or not we get the same playoff matchups. But we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. We are going to try like hell to stack this team. Of course, the salary cap is very much a factor, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. That said, this is the team that we are starting with. Carey Price and Max Pacioretty leading the way. PK Subban, of course, still here because no one was dumb enough to trade him yet. Thomas Plekanec's there as well. David Desharnais, Lars Eller, and a young Alex Galchenyuk. From there, you know the rest. Emelin, Georges, Prost, Gallagher, a very young Brendan Gallagher, Brian Gianna, Peter Holland, Rafael Diaz, Christian Thomas, Louis LeBlanc, the greatest draft pick in Habs history, Ryan White, Danny Briere at 35 years old, George Parros, Andrei Markov, Nathan Beaulieu, Peter Budaj, and Mike Blunden all on the starting team. Will it stay that way? Probably not. The first thing we're going to do, as we normally do, is take a look at the free agent list, which features Ilya Kovalchuk. Now, we have $20 million in cap space, by the way. We have a lot that we can do with this team. And there are actually quite a few Russians available as well. Phoenix Copley is somehow 5-star potential. Now, that's not going to stick, but much like the last challenge, we're going to have the ability to add him and immediately flip him. Again, why they had his value be that high for this point in time, no idea. But Evgeny Kuznetsov is also available. We're going all in. Whatever options are available to us, we're going for it. Copley, Kuznetsov, Calvin DeHaan. We are going to be able to sign some half-decent players and be able to flip them for a huge profit. Casey DeSmith also has a fairly ridiculous potential, although especially compared to Phoenix Copley, he has certainly reached that potential. Who else do we have? Jake Allen, also there. My God, we're going to have all of the goalies to try and flip. Of course, whether or not we're able to flip everybody, time will tell, just because, again, of the whole having to deal with the cap situation as opposed to the challenges with the Oilers, per se. Kovalchuk wants all the money in the world, but I can deal with that. We'll also go for one Oscar Lindberg, as we still have quite a bit of money left if all these deals go through. $5 million, it's not bad. And Mike Smith is also a free agent at this point in time. I think we have just enough money to sign him. We have $438,000 left over, but all of the top players have been sent deals, which is pretty nice, which is going to lead me to try and flip whoever we can early on here. So if we look at our organizational depth chart, we know the backup goaltending situation is going to get a little bit of a boost. We're not going to have to rely on Budaj or Tokarski, but I think the defense, I mean, Andrei Markov being 1-star, I probably disagree with, but there's no doubt the defense needs a little bit of a boost. So let's see who we can find. Let's take a look at the Anaheim Ducks. Ryan Getzlaf leading the way. I think we're aiming a little bit higher than someone like a Francois Beauchemin. The Boston Bruins, of course. God, I love that team. At least parts of it, but no thank you. Buffalo, Tyler Myers is there, but again, I think I want to aim for someone like Mark Giordano would be amazing, but we'll keep taking a look here. My God, Chicago. My God. Colorado, I mean, someone like Eric Johnson. I can't tell exactly what the cap hit is. You know, if I go from this screen, though, I can see, right? Yeah, I can. So let's take a look. We'll label that down to just defense. That way we'll see what we got. So Ryan Suter's getting paid all of the money, so no thank you. Drew Doughty's also getting paid a ton of money. Brian Campbell, not all that great, for being honest. Detroit with Cronwall making 5.2, which isn't that bad. Goligoski at 5 mil. Jack Johnson, Feder Tootin both making a decent amount. And, of course, Eric Johnson's still going to be making quite a bit. Gio was at under 5 mil. And to be honest, I mean, Hal Char's only 2.5. That is just plain disrespectful. Don't know what else to tell you. Toby Enstrom is at 4 million. To be honest, that's decent bang for your buck. John Carlson looking pretty good for Washington. Hamhuis is looking okay. Dion's making 5 mil. Victor Hedman's already turned into an absolute monster. Petrangelo's decent value for money as well. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to get like a true stud on a ridiculous steal of a deal. Although picking up OEL would be pretty nice. Eric Carlson's making almost 9. Ryan McDonough, reacquiring him would be interesting. But I think for the most part, yeah, Shea Weber's making all the money in the world. Right, you know, I think back to one of the final few teams here. I mean, I gotta be honest. I think he's not the greatest defenseman in the world, but yeah, we gotta spend more. We gotta spend more. We can't settle for Toby Enstrom. And Jay Bouwmeester's still at his height, but he is making 7 mil. Trying to get Alex Pietrangelo away from St. Louis might not be the worst idea. And I gotta be honest, Blues fans, avert your eyes, because I think this is who I want to target. Because what an addition. Pietrangelo and Subban on the same blue line, ridiculous. Mike Condon has high value, so we'll try to use him at least relatively. We'll also look to use Nathan Beaulieu. And let's go for Sven Andrighetto as well. For player rights, we have a couple of players that we can move. I have a little bit of value, but from here, I think it's going to require draft picks. Even then, I don't think we're going to have enough to try and get Pietrangelo. Again, well-balanced offers very, very rarely, if ever, go through. Your job, basically, in trading in this game is to fool the AI GMs into thinking that they're actually getting value, when in reality they're not. But right now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull off this deal unless I take back like a Keith coin to fill out the roster. I was hoping there'd be some positive value for me taking him. What about Carlo Koliakovo as well? All right, so they'll accept. If I take a coin and Koliakovo, they'll accept. Now, it is Mike Condon a first and 3 seconds for Alex Pietrangelo, but I would be willing to do that, especially with the players that we are about to get back from the free agent list. Not to mention the likes of the players that we're going to have to move anyway. So Calvin DeHaan has ended up signing. We'll have the AI set up the roster for the moment, and we will sim this preseason game against the Winnipeg Jets that we end up winning 5-4. Not the most inspiring win in the world, but that's okay. The Blues actually rejected that trade, so that's unexpected and surprising, and very disappointing, if anything. But that's okay. We'll still have room to negotiate these deals, as we do see a trade. Patrick Sharp to Calgary for just a 3rd-round pick. Damn. I'm kind of jealous, as we have signed some goaltenders. That is for sure. Pretty much everybody we were hoping to get. And let's see what else we can do here now that we've actually made those moves. So first move here, I mean, Phoenix Copley is going to be a guy who allows us to make a big deal. And again, I think Pietrangelo is the guy that I want in this instance. So let's try to get Alex Pietrangelo. And we'll use Phoenix Copley, who of course ended up being blue anyway. That's well balanced. Okay, so yeah, we'll be able to pull this off now. Let's go to this option here with Zach Fucale, Charlie Houdon, Arturi Lehkonen, De La Rose. Wow, that's not enough, huh? Maybe they just don't want the rights to those players. I genuinely don't know. I feel like the difficulty really changes year in and year out. Yeah, see, just a 4th-round pick would work. A 7th, what about a 6th and a 7th? Still no? 5th? Take out the 6th? Maybe not. How about a 5th and a 6th? Phoenix Copley, a 5th and a 6th for Alex Pietrangelo. I'm not against it if we can get it to go through. We do have a game coming up. I think this would be against the Rangers. Although, Carey Price is injured in the preseason. Not a good look. Is this against the Rangers? It is not. It's against the New York Islanders. Kevin Poulin between the pipes, and he gets the win. Jake Allen in a Montreal uniform could not backstop us to the victory, as players need to be assigned numbers. Natainen again. How many times do I got to tell you, buddy? And then Vancouver. We end up playing the Canucks the next day. Waiting to see if this first offer will go through. We lose to the Canucks as well, but it is preseason. I'm not too concerned. I need a response here. Very much want a response to those offers. There we go. Alex Pietrangelo, welcome aboard. Hate to tell you, St. Louis, but Phoenix Copley's potential is going to drop harshly next year, but that's a good pickup for us. Defensively still, we need at least one more name. Calvin DeHaan's actually good enough to just outright play on this roster, but we definitely need some help. As far as the team is concerned as well, we do have $8 million in cap space, which is absolutely outrageous. So if you want to talk about us bringing over like a Radulov already, that could absolutely happen. Of course, we don't have to sign Yuri Laterra. We certainly don't have to do that. We don't have to sign Charlie Hudon right now. I am going to try to bring over Radulov, but thankfully, we had the rights to old Charlie there, so that'll work out pretty well. I think I'm going to sign Kochechkin again. He wants a no-trade clause, but we know we have goalies to move, so he might as well be the backup goaltender this year. Again, a strong option to finally have him come over from the KHL. And you know what? I actually will sign Yuri Laterra. And it's a fairly cheap deal. That'll bring us up to 50 contracts. So let's see who else we can move out here and who else we can target. I want one more relatively cheap defenseman, and he might not be the best option. He's really not, actually. I was going to say Toby Enstrom. I don't think Brent Burns was making that much. He wasn't for how good he is. Huh. You know, as ridiculous as that is, again, we're going all in year one. It's a fantasy scenario anyway. I'm going to give up Evgeny Kuznetsov. They will never accept. We'd be below the cap floor. Okay, well, what if I send Kuznetsov to Washington for John Carlson? How strong are your memes, Washington? Let's find out. Kuznetsov, that is well balanced, and that is beautiful. We'll throw in a 7th. Kuznetsov and a 7th for John Carlson. Would that be highway robbery? Yes. Yes, it would be. But we're going to see what we can do. We have back-to-back games here, but hopefully that offer goes through sometime soon. We also lose to Philadelphia in the preseason, so we do need to assign some numbers, but that's okay. So we give Pietrangelo, Alex Radulov, bring him to Montreal a couple years early, and Yuri Laterra. So we play the Minnesota Wild and lose again. Not exactly a dominant preseason for us by any stretch of the imagination. The deal has been accepted. John Carlson, welcome to Montreal in exchange for Evgeny Kuznetsov, which is hilarious, really. So right now our defense is shaping up to be Subban, Pietrangelo, Georges, Carlson, Emlyn, and DeHaan. I can't help but think, though, I mean, Rafael Diaz as a healthy scratch isn't too bad, but one more depth defenseman would be great. Not to mention, I mean, I have Mike Smith to trade right now, too. So one more really strong defenseman. One more second pairing defenseman. And while he might be making a lot, I think I have somebody in mind. And that would be from the Coyotes. That would be Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's making under $5 million. Seems like just the type of player we're looking to get. Now, in terms of who I want to give up here, I do want to use Mike Smith more than likely. I'm also going to try to use Casey DeSmith. Move out a couple of our goaltenders. Let's throw in Mike Smith into the deal. That brings it up to well-balanced. Draft pick-wise, how about a 4th? That would be a very, very good deal. Nothing like sending Mike Smith back to the Coyotes when we play them in back-to-back preseason games. We beat them 7-1, so you can't tell me that they don't need goaltending. Thomas Greiss gets absolutely shelled. as Carlson will take the number 74. And again, the whole Natanen thing is like glitched from the looks of it. So we'll go ahead and delete those and sim this other game as we lose 4-1. The travel was an absolute killer, I tell you. Let's do it. This deal will go through. We're not putting anybody overly important through waivers, and they all should clear. Anyway, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, welcome to Montreal as we build another super team and hope for the best. Our defense is golden now. It's OEL Pietrangelo, Subban, Carlson, Georges Emelin. It's crazy. So George is actually right now, I think it's Calvin DeHaan that's a healthy scratch. And then we have Diaz in the minors. So that's pretty damn good. Now we need to look to improve the forward core. We have one roster spot left. That is going to go. I know Artemi Panarin's there, and trust me, if you were to continue to sim along, you'd end up with some better potentials. It does change year in and year out. So at this point in time, people would have thought, okay, Artemi Panarin, 3-star potential. Eventually, it changes to actually what it became. You know, it's all down to perception at the time. Right now, though, we are a little bit low in terms of cap space. We have the money to spend on free agents, but cap's a little bit low. So it's time to target some forwards, and I have no idea who I want to go after. So let's see what we're dealing with here. Nashville, I mean, a young Philip Forsberg, that's an ELC for Philip Forsberg. That's just too good. That's too good a value to pass up on. So I think we will throw, let's throw Mike Condon into that deal. Is there anybody else we can kind of target here? Let's go for Oscar Lindberg. And from there, draft picks should be enough, I hope. And it is. So Condon, Lindberg, a 5th and a 6th for Philip Forsberg, hopefully. We'll go back to the roster page and let's see who else we can find that's on a cheap enough deal. New Jersey, both their top players, Henrique and Jagr, a bit too expensive. The Islanders, John Tavares is already making a lot of money, so no thanks. The New York Rangers, again, still no value for money there in terms of, you know, a really good player on an ELC or anything like that. Philly, overpaying people left and right. Phoenix, not quite. Penguins. I mean, technically, Sidney Crosby has nothing on a cap hit because it's his real life, like, the bonus thing, so I mean, I have to try. Why would I not try, right? There's no chance in hell, but why would I not try? So we will look to use Jake Allen. And we'll also throw in all of the draft picks. There is no goddamn way. It would have taken like a 5-star potential guy. Like, it would have taken a hell of a lot more. What if I use Calvin DeHaan? That's well balanced. What if I take out Jake Allen? And what if we use Galchenyuk? Now, what if I take out... yeah, there's just no way. There is just no way. Unless I flip a better defenseman that we just acquired, I don't see this happening. Or say like a Kovalchuk. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, it was worth a shot at the very least, right? Right. Was it? Absolutely not. There was no way that was ever going through. But, hey, it was fun to explore. San Jose. Pavelski's getting paid a little bit too much. Tarasenko is on his ELC. That's not too bad. Anybody else there? Palat and Tyler Johnson on their base deals. I mean, I'm really looking at like the top talents on the team. And no one's really winning me over in terms of like, wow, that guy's a really cheap option. Let's get them. At least in terms of them being like 4-star plus, right? So I think our options are fairly limited. But that is okay. I'm not against trying to pick up some of these cheap options. Nugent Hopkins comes to mind. Tarasenko. Jonathan Huberdeau. All right. I think we're looking okay. So let's go to Florida. God, Huberdeau has all the value in the world, though, but I'm still going to try to get him. See if we can bring Jonathan Huberdeau to Montreal. We will use, I don't remember who the hell we used. I'm going to use Jake Allen. I don't think I've used him yet. We're going to go to the players that we have rights for. Let's use De La Rose. Let's use Hudon. Let's use Lehkonen and Mike McCarron. No. I'm going to have to throw in some draft picks, but that's okay. What about a fourth? There we go. So that's a pretty one-sided deal for them, obviously. But if it goes through, it'll be good news for us. Philip Forsberg. It was Oscar Lindbergh and Mike Condon. Okay, I thought it was. Those are the two I was really trying to avoid using. And Florida has accepted for Huberdeau. So, not bad. Bringing in pretty much all the best young talent that we possibly can. And we'll double check what the lineups are looking like, as opening day is today against the Leafs. So our lineups right now, again, our defense is stacked. Kochechkin's going to be our goaltender. Pacioretty, Plekanec, Radulov, Kovalchuk, Darnay, Forsberg, Huberdeau, Laterra, Gallagher, Eller, Prust, and Gianna. Not too bad. Galchenyuk's actually a healthy scratch. And we still have a little bit of work to do in terms of these trades. So let's go take a look at... I'm trying to think of who... Oh, that's right, Nugent Hopkins. Ryan Nugent Hopkins. What will it take to bring in the Nuge? That's the real question. He has really good potential, so could be just a tad bit expensive, but we do have players to get rid of, including Nathan Beaulieu, and they'd be below the cap floor, so I am going to have to give up somebody. Kovalchuk is probably making too much for how good he is, so I'm going to try to throw him into the deal. And even David Desharnais is making way too much. Desharnais, Eller, I know these guys were kind of staples of the team, but my God, those contracts are brutal. I'm going to throw in Sven Andrighetto and a couple of draft picks and hope that that is enough to get the deal done. It's looking a little bit shaky. Might take a first rounder. That is exactly what it's going to take. Go for a first and a fourth. There we go. So Kovalchuk, Andrighetto, Beaulieu, a first and a fourth for Ryan Nugent Hopkins. It'll help us save some money, and at the very least, you can say that we used Kovalchuk to go out and get somebody cheaper. And hopefully we'll still have somebody that we can use to make something happen as we beat the Leafs. Wow, Jonathan Bernier had a brutal game. We beat the Leafs 5-2 on opening night. 2-goal night for PK Subban. Not too shabby, as we end up playing Washington the next day. And we win that one 3-2, beating Neuwirth and the Caps. So a pretty good start. Price is back to 100%. So Peter Budaj, we will see you later. Louis LeBlanc's actually on the roster right now. Our payroll was too high. It shouldn't be. Why is it not auto-adjusting? Our salary is 71, the cap is 69. It should just auto-adjust, shouldn't it? Pain in the ass. Let me, Why can I not send down Budaj? I'm confused. I should be able to send him down. Defense is fine. Forward-wise, Christian Thomas. Send you to Hamilton. Can I send down Budaj now? Nope. All right, Peter Budaj's just here, apparently. Does he have a no movement? That would be absurd. And then forward-wise, let's also send down Louis LeBlanc. If I lose him, that's fine. And am I allowed to continue now? Nope, we are still over by 1.4 million. All the more reason to try and get rid of Kovalchuk. I am going to have to send down, I don't even know. I'm going to have to send down Yuri Laterra and hope for the best. I don't even know if I'm allowed to. Well, Prust, if you end up being lost on waivers, that's a damn shame. But I got to do what I got to do. We are still 500K over. That's insane. I don't know. I'm half stuck here. Can I send down Ryan Gianna as well just to move forward a day? Thank you. Good Lord, I thought we were going to be screwed. There we go. The trade for Nuge. That should take away some of the cap issues, of course. Now that Kovalchuk's gone. And indeed, Prust is right back. And we'll see what happens there. So, money-wise, we are $1.9 million above where we want to be. Not too bad. We also have 5 roster spots. So, Nikita Zaitsev, try to bring him over since he'll be on a cheap enough deal. Peter Straka. I'll try to bring him over since he'll be on a cheap enough deal as well. Is there anybody else? Artemi Panarin, we might as well. Wants a cheap deal. He should be easy to flip. And last but not least, actually we have 2 more spots. We got to go for Donskoy. And the good thing is he's not looking for over $1 million either, which is a really good deal for us. And everybody else is 2.5. The Sergei Mazakins, the Oscar Mahlers, the Alex Burmistrofs. So we should be okay. Let's see what else we can do here. Trading-wise, the only other cheap player I had in mind, like future superstar, is Vladimir Tarasenko. And I'm not sure if this is going to be possible. Depends on the Blues situation, I suppose. So again, in terms of the money, I can't say I'm overly impressed with paying David Desharnais $4 million. That's just not a good deal for us. So I kind of wanted to keep as much of the core together as I could, but there are just certain players that need to go. They are making way too much. Calvin DeHaan, actually, is going to be making too much as well. I know right now it's saying that they're over the payroll, but I can add somebody back. Let's see. Is there a veteran? I hate this man with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns, but bringing in Max LaPierre could have worked. All right, I think it's just going to have to be David Desharnais, unfortunately, and I'm going to trade Calvin DeHaan as well. So let's add McCarron to the deal, Zach Fucale to the deal, and we'll also throw in a third. We'll send Desharnais to St. Louis for Vladimir Tarasenko. They immediately accepted the deal. So Tarasenko is here. That was instantaneous. He goes to the top line with Plekanec and Pacioretty, which is a monstrous deal for us. From there, again, Price, Carlson's worth that money. For anybody who's really not worth the money outside of Kochechkin, but there's nothing I can do about that. He's actually more expensive than I was hoping, but what are you going to do? You have DeHaan, and then nobody else is really making that much. So I am going to flip Calvin DeHaan. And how much is Francois Beauchemin making? Oof. There has to be a relatively cheap defenseman that we can get, right? I hope, at least. Let's see what we can get here. Let's look at these other teams. I mean, that defense already is star-studded. A very young Seth Jones. That would be absolutely outrageous. Instead of getting back Shea Weber, we get Seth Jones. Not too bad. We are going to have to give up Calvin DeHaan to do it, but that is okay. And all of a sudden, it's not letting me sort that way anymore, but that's okay. So, Calvin DeHaan, where are you? I don't see you. Probably looking right at you. I don't see you. There you are, buddy. That's well balanced, huh? Criminy. That is a cheap deal for us, though. So let's see. Is there anybody else I can throw in? Nikita Zaitsev and Peter Straka. So DeHaan, Zaitsev, and Straka for Seth Jones. And we do have to wait on that one, strangely enough. But overall, I mean, this team is just going to be so stupidly stacked. So stupidly stacked. And I like it. Brandon Prust is good. Ryan Nugent Hopkins again. We basically created the dream team and Louis LeBlanc, who I'm totally going to name captain. You can't stop me. As we play Philadelphia and lose 2-1 for our first loss of the season. They put up 15 shots and still won. Carey, you let us down. We play Tampa and lose 5-2. Two disappointing losses back-to-back. Seth Jones, welcome to Montreal. Outrageous statement that is. He's not even going to be in the lineup right now. He's going to be our healthy scratch. How's that for defensive depth? Fairly ridiculous. So LeBlanc and Gianna are the healthy scratches for the forwards. In terms of how much money we're working with, we have nearly $9, or not nearly $9, we have $8 million available, $7.9 million to be exact, which again is just outrageous. Rafael Diaz is in the minors. So, I mean, technically, trying to bring in another superstar or just better overall team depth is going to be the way to go. which is where we start to look at these 3.5-star, or 2.5-star players, excuse me. Which include, former Hab Brian Flynn. We are going to, I don't know what we're going to do here, because we do have some space. How much is John Mitchell looking for? Wow, John Mitchell's looking for nothing. Beautiful. So that is an easy deal to make. Let's talk to Brian Flynn. Looking for a decent amount, but not too bad. What about Burmistrov at this point? Still not too shabby. 3.5 million. Oscar Mahler. And we are at the max contract limit. So let's see if there's anything else we can do here trade-wise, because we still have the likes of Panarin, Donskoy, Michael Bournival. We have quite a few players that we actually can look to move. It's just a matter of trying to find probably some other cheap options as opposed to one more superstar, at least until those deals are done. And I'm not sure who that would be. Or different idea, we stock up on draft picks, which I'm not against. So we will use Artemi Panarin. We will use Michael Bournival. We will use Jonas Donskoy. And Prebol, who I think injuries completely derailed his career. And Jared Tenorti. Go over to Anaheim. We go over to Anaheim. Anaheim. We look for, okay, Dustin Penner's going to be paid a lot. Nolan Yonkman, not making that much. Go over to draft picks and try to get back at least a first. Hey, that'll work. First round picks are worth their weight in gold. It's not worth it technically, but I'll do it. It'll make negotiations a little bit easier, and we'll try to get that. We'll try to get that first round pick back. So we'll go ahead, do that. I think we have one more big move that we can possibly make, and then we're pretty much done and just cruising towards the end of the season. We get to the playoffs, and we see if indeed this can be our year. Because otherwise, like I said, we can just get to the end. I can sim to the end and just be like, okay, playoffs, are we going to win the sim this time? Or we just go crazy stupid with the setup and just see what happens. So, money-wise here, we have $6 million in cap space. We still have the likes of Myzakin and Mahler, but we're going to, of course, use that cap space to try and bring in a legit superstar forward to help finalize this team. That player is not going to be from the Nashville Predators. It's not going to be from the New Jersey Devils. It is not going to be from the New York Islanders, but that would be hilarious. It's not going to be Ryan Callahan. Is it going to be from Ottawa? It's not going to be Clark MacArthur due to his injury trouble. Jason Spezza. I think somebody like a Voracek is what I'm thinking of. Let's see if we have the assets to get a Jake Voracek. And if we do, we're golden. I can actually keep Tokarski. So we have 4 goaltenders just in case of a crazy amount of injuries. So let's go for Ellis. And to be honest, I think from there it's all out draft picks. So use the Anaheim first. Use that one as well. Oh yeah, so there we go. See that extra pick came in handy. Morgan Ellis, 2 firsts, a 7th, and a 6th for Voracek. We'll see if that goes through. We play Boston today at home, and we lose 1-0 in overtime. Let me tell you, I'm crushed about that. Just devastated. As Philly has accepted, we do get Jake Voracek. He will debut against Colorado today. Voracek immediately jumps up to the top line, and I think that our team is just about as good as we can make it living in a cap world. We have just over $2 million left. And again, I think we've pretty much hit our limits. Mahler only wants $700K. We will definitely sign him. What does Myzakin want? Probably a lot. Yeah, he does. One more potential trade, I would say. One more potential trade for a big-time forward. Who is that going to be? I do not know. But we will find out in due time. We're going to add Darren Dietz to this. I want to try and clear out some of these guys just to make sure I have some free agent options. Francois Bouillon's not really worth anything at this point. Or Martin St. Pierre. So again, we're going to go to Anaheim and see if I can get anything draft pick wise, basically, for all of the garbage to clear off of the team. It's not looking too likely. It's not overly necessary for us to do this, but it would be nice. Just here, take these contracts, please. Get them away from me. As Mahler, of course, is signed, but we're going to be playing the Avalanche, or not, because Mahler immediately went onto the roster. I believe that sent him down. Colorado, what do you got for us? You have a 3-2 overtime win for us. Thank you very much. Voracek is looking pretty good in his debut game. He's going to wear the number 49, because why the hell not? As we play Detroit as well, waiting to see if that offer goes through. We lose 4-3, so we're 3-1-3 on the season. Not exactly off to a flying start. We clear out a bunch of nothing, which is a pretty good sign. And then forward-wise, again, I think we need one more half-decent forward. Who that will be, let's try to find out. Zach Parise is not making the most, but he is going to be expensive. Mikko Koivu at 5.2. I think we could get a little bit more bang for our buck there, especially considering Jeff Carter is at 5.2. And I am going to try to bring him in so that we don't potentially have to face him in the final if we were to make it that far. So we'll use Darren Dietz. We will really not be able to use anybody else, but that's okay. And in fairness, we actually don't have that many high-powered draft picks left, but we have just enough. Let's see if we can get Jeff Carter, mainly for draft picks, but we also toss in Darren Dietz into the deal. That deal is done, and if this squad can't win, then damn. Pacioretty, Carter, Voracek, Forsberg, Plekanec, Tarasenko, Burmistrov, Nuge, and Radulov, Prust, Mitchell, and Mahler. Price and Vocechkin between the pipes. Or not Vocechkin, Kochechkin. Absolute monster of a team. Not to mention having the likes of Huberdeau, Galchenyuk, Gallagher, not even in the lineup right now. Which is really not a smart move if you think about it. Like, that is pretty brutal, really. And we should probably look to change that situation. And the question is whether or not there's anybody... The problem is, again, there's really nobody who's getting paid a ton. Like, moving Brandon Prust could be worth it just to open up room for one of the younger guys. And as far as the... Oh, yeah, money's tight right now. You know what? I think that's going to be the way to do it. So we are going to use Brandon Prust to try and get a deal done here with Anaheim. What we're going to do is do the same thing that we did before. We're going to add somebody like Dave Steckel to the trade. He's not making that much. I want to add probably a first-round pick again from the Ducks and see if we can offset that with our own draft picks. Quite easily. Quite easily. So let me see if there's another first-rounder we can get, and then I can use those picks to get somebody fairly cheap. That's outrageous. Well, if Anaheim's willing to do that, then, I mean, we're set for life, right? Jeff Carter gets to wear the number 77 as we play the New York Rangers. Big-time game that we lose 4-3. Kreider did not have an amazing game. It was, I believe, Rene Bourque that just dominated us there. We get 2 more first-round picks from the Ducks to just completely ruin them for the most part. And that leaves us $2.5 million to work with, on top of potentially getting somebody back. I'm just not sure who that's going to be. So if I can find another really cheap option, you know, There's a certain name that we tried to get earlier and it seemed impossible. But with all these draft picks now, maybe, just maybe. You never know. There's no way. But maybe, just maybe. No, we only have 2 first-round picks. That's not going to happen. That's okay, though. Although, we do have Nugent Hopkins. We do have 2 first-round picks. We got it to well-balanced, which is further than I thought we would ever be. We also have Jonathan Huberdeau and Alex Galchenyuk. If this goes through, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Jonathan Huberdeau, Alex Galchenyuk, and 2 first-round picks for Sidney Crosby. Let's have fun. We play Edmonton and Calgary. We're on the road. We beat the Oilers 3-1. And we'll play Calgary before we get an answer. And we beat the Flames 5-3. Sidney Crosby, welcome to Montreal. We give up a king's ransom and a half. But we get Sidney goddamn Crosby. Don't let your memes be dreams, kids. He will be centering Pacioretty and Voracek, Forsberg, Carter, Tarasenko, Burmistrov, Plekanec, Radulov, Flynn, Laterra, Mahler. The defense, OEL, Pietrangelo, Subban, Carlson, Emlin, and George's. Defensive depth, we still have Rafael Diaz as a healthy scratch, Andre Markov and Doug Murray. And in forward depth, we still have the likes of Christian Thomas, Louis LeBlanc, Brian Gianna, and I believe we'll still have space. Ooh, we're in the negatives. Uh-oh. I'm not going to be able to advance, am I? Oh, no, okay. It let me advance. Let me sim that game. 2-1 win. Eddie Lack had a great game. Okay, so yeah, now we're over the payroll. We're over by $2 million. It's kind of what I was afraid of. It was too good to be true, right? So, it's going to have to be... I mean, George's is hurt anyway. What is going to be the best way to survive this? I'm going to send down Kochechkin. Hope that he gets claimed. And then I'll just bring somebody cheaper back up. Sound good? Kochechkin didn't completely solve the situation somehow. Which doesn't make any sense to me. So let me bump up Peter Budaj. And then we'll go back over here. So yeah, Kochechkin somehow didn't completely solve the issue like he should have. So we'll send down Brian Flynn. Cap that would be reduced by $300K. What about Radulov? Radulov would have to be on waivers. I'm fine with that. We're like $300K short. I'll also send down Brian Flynn. And then hit continue. And then we'll let all of this sort itself out. Worth it, though, to trade for Sidney goddamn Crosby. If Crosby can't carry this team once Chris Kreider absolutely decks Carey Price, then I don't know how we possibly win. That's all I'm saying. So as far as the roster is concerned, free agent wise, 122K, which is just outrageous. There are some other players that we could look to bring in to slightly, ever so slightly increase the team depth, but I'm not too concerned. We should be fine. I hope. So technically right now I don't even get to use Radulov. I guess maybe there were bonuses on the Crosby deal? I'm not entirely sure. But I mean, you still look at this team, it's still stacked. Just absolutely stacked. So we should be okay. Might have to make changes throughout the year. I will see you guys at the beginning of the playoffs. Sidney Crosby's a Hab. 61, 13, and 8. Your Montreal Canadiens are atop the Eastern Conference, atop the NHL standings in general. Looking at the conference standings, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Of course, the Rangers were up there as well. Tampa Bay also fighting. It's going to be intriguing to see what the full playoff situation is, as we are playing the Leafs in the first round. It'll be St. Louis, Los Angeles, San Jose, Chicago, Winnipeg, Colorado, Anaheim, and Minnesota. In the East, of course, we're playing the Leafs. Columbus plays New York, so there's a chance of us meeting New York in the second round rather than the third. Ottawa, Tampa, the Islanders, and Bruins all made it. So when it comes to the regular season stats, I don't know if I think I'm going to look around the league first. Sidney Crosby led the league with 62 goals. Patrick Kane was the only other player to break 50. Crosby with 111 points, one of just 3 players to break the 100-point mark. It was a dominant season for Crosby. Goalie leader-wise, Ben Bishop led with wins, Smith with losses. Save percentage, Robin Lehner with a .937. It was not a great year for one Carey Price, at least in terms of save percentage. We'll see what the roster is looking like, actually, in terms of stats. If I can hit the right button. There we go. Let's take a look here. So, again, we know Crosby killed it. Pacioretty, 73 points. Carter, 31 goals, 63 points. OEL with 62 points as a defenseman. 55 points, 27 goals for Tarasenko. Only 52 points for Voracek. Same for Forsberg. 49 points for PK. And you can see the rest. I mean, even Seth Jones, 15 points in 38 games. Fairly ridiculous. And in terms of the goaltending, Carey Price with a 185 GAA and a 912 save percentage. So a 912 is pretty good, but it's not exactly Carey Price-like. And I think that's the most surprising factor. Our lineups for the playoffs here, if we do go for our best available team, technically the salary cap right now is at $75.9 million, so we could look to call up other players if we have to, and I think we might. Technically, we're not going to have to use Kochechkin unless there is an injury, but the defense is pretty straightforward, and I mean, Radulov's back on the roster too. I mean, I think we're pretty much golden. Again, Pacioretty, Crosby, Voracek, Forsberg, Plekanec, Carter, Burmistrov, Laterra, Tarasenko, Flynn, Mahler, and Radulov. It's ridiculous. Radulov on the 4th line. It's not even fair. It's not even fair to him. And really, now that I think about it, I think I'd prefer to do this. With Radulov there, Laterra there, Plekanec there, and Carter there. That's looking pretty nasty. That's looking pretty damn good. And of course, that defense is just outrageous. Tempted to put in Seth Jones over Josh Georges, I have to admit. But I think we're pretty much good to go. It is playoff time in Montreal. Let's take a look at this Leafs team. JVR, Dave Bolland, and Phil Kessel. Mason Raymond, Tyler Bozak, Joffrey Lupul, Jamie Devan. I think that's Blair Jones and Nikolai Kulemin, Carter Ashton, Jay McClement, and Daryl Powell. Ooh, how did this team make the playoffs? Kyle Gunnarsson and Dion Phaneuf, Alec Martinez, Cody Franzen, Morgan Riley, and Mark Frazier. The goaltender is Jonathan Bernier. Wow. I need to outright look at their current ratings. I cannot believe this team made the playoffs. That is simply outrageous. 42 wins with that team, huh? So there's the Leafs ratings, right? And for Montreal, I think we should probably win this series. Let's do this. Game 1, Price v. Bernier, and we take a 2-1 win. Bernier did everything he could to keep his team in it. Nazem Kadri is also hurt. 46 shots to 22. We only walk away with a 2-1 victory. As OEL get the opening goal, Raymond tied it. Sidney Crosby gets the game winner in the 3rd period as Brian Flynn, congratulations, there's a number for you. Game 2 against the Leafs. It is a 3-1 loss. Carey Price, have you been hit already? 48 shots to 20, but we drop the game. Morgan Riley with the opening goal. Subban ties it. Tyler Bozak scores. And then Dave Bolland gets one, an empty netter, in the 3rd period to seal the deal. And the Leafs have tied this series, shockingly. We go to Game 3 in Toronto, where we do pick up a 2-1 win to regain the series lead. 43 shots to 19. Pure domination, and thankfully this time Price doesn't completely falter. Game 4 is a 4-2 win, and we'll have a chance to end the series back home in Game 5. 24 shots to 17. Not much offense going but we do get the job done. Thomas Mechanics with a 2-point game led the way for us. Can we end it right here, right now in Game 5? Yes, we can, off the back of a 4-1 win, a 3-point night for both Patches and Sidney Crosby, 36 shots to 13. The Leafs steal Game 2, but they fall short from there. And indeed, in the second round, rather than the third, we are taking on the Islanders. It reseeded. There is a chance of us playing the Rangers in the conference final. We need to get through the New York Islanders. They have to get through the Tampa Bay Lightning. You have St. Louis and Chicago in the second round over in the West, as is tradition. Winnipeg and Minnesota. Let's see what this Islanders team looks like right now. It is John Tavares and friends. It's a fairly well-rounded roster, though. I mean, a 2-star player really isn't that bad. So it's not a terrible look for them. We'll see how they line up. It's Bailey, Tavares, Grabner, Martin, Nielsen, Clutterbuck, Mike Halmo with Casey Cizikas and Kyle Okposo, Brock Nelson, Ryan Strome, and Peter Reagan. The defense is Andy McDonald, Travis Hamonic, Thomas Hickey, Lubo Vishnofsky, Matt Donovan, and Brian Strait. The goaltender is Anders Nilsson. I mean, I think we know how this series should go, but let's find out. First period, or not even first period, Game 1 of this series, and we walk away with a 7-0 victory. 36 shots to 21, 7-0 is your final. A 4-point night and a hat trick for Sidney Crosby. Pacioretty and Forsberg also had great games, and that was pure domination. What a way to start a series. So we get to select the Hall of Fame nominee, and it's Scott goddamn Niedermayer. I mean, there's some great players there. I'm going with Scott Niedermayer. Game 2 of this series is another win. We have outscored the Islanders 14-1 over the course of the first 2 games. A 7-1 victory, 50 shots to 22. PK Subban with a hat trick of assists led the way. It is pure domination thus far. And as the series shifts to the island, let's see what happens. Kevin Poulin between the pipes now. Game 3. He stopped the bleeding a little bit, but not enough. 3-1 is your final. We have a 3-0 series lead, and it's looking like, as long as the Rangers do their part, we have a date with destiny. 41 shots to 18. Let's see what happens here. Game 4 against the Islanders. We complete the sweep off the back of a 4-2 win, and it is now just a matter of waiting. 45 shots to 16. 2-point night for Tarasenko. Will it be the Rangers or will it be the Lightning? It will be the New York Rangers. Needless to say, our roster has changed quite a bit, but we still get the matchup that we wanted. New York and Montreal. In the West, it's Chicago and Winnipeg. So, of course, this is one of the Blackhawks' off years. They won it last year, and they'd win it the next year after 2014. They'd win it in 2013, 2015 is what I'm saying. But they are looking for 3 in a row. They have to get through the Winnipeg Jets to do it, and we have to get through the New York Rangers. Henrik Lundqvist, Ryan McDonough, Rick Nash, Callahan, Girardi. No real changes to that lineup. And Chris Kreider also there. Let's do this. Game 1, the lineup is as followed. Nash, Stepan, Callahan, Hagelin, Brassard, Zuccarello, Kreider, Boyle, Dorsett, or Derek Dorsett. John Albert, I think that is, former Winnipeg Jet. Dominic Moore and Brad Richards. The defense, McDonough, Girardi, Del Zotto, and John Moore, I guess that would be. And Dylan McElrath with Taylor Fedun. Ooh, that third pairing. They're going to have a rough time. The goaltender, Henrik Lundqvist. Let's do this. Game 1. And New York takes it. I believe in real life they took Game 1 by the score of 7-2, despite the fact that Carey Price finished out that game. And in this series, this episode, they take Game 1 as well by the score of 4-1. They actually outshot us, and one has to wonder whether or not we've seen an injury to Carey Price. We have not. He just had a bad game, and we need to hope for something better here in Game 2. And we lose again! A 2-1 loss to the Rangers. 36 shots to 20. Rick Nash scored. Plekanec got us back into it, but it was too little too late. And the Rangers have a 2-0 series lead. And we might not be able to rewrite history. Game 3, it is a must win. And we lose again, 2-1. The Rangers, Taylor Fredune was the first star. The New York Rangers are 1 win away from sweeping this cap-era super team with Crosby, Price, Pacioretty, Pietrangelo, Subban, Carlson, Voracek, Plekanec, Carter, OEL, Forsberg. Unbelievable stuff. Absolute unthinkable. Especially with how this series, or this postseason, I should say, had gone up to this point. Absolutely unbelievable. I just realized, I think, too, I still have the AI set up to, I think I do. Let me go back to manager options. This could all be for naught. There is a chance that this is the end right here. Unless we pull off a big-time victory, the comeback has to start now. Or have we been swept by the Rangers in the conference final? We do take the win. 3-2 in overtime. 41 shots to 31. Game-winning goal to PK Subban. And we stay alive for now. Game 5 in Montreal. Again, must win. Can we get the job done? Yes, we can. 4-0 is your final. There will be a Game 6 at MSG. Of course, in real life, that series ended in 6 games. Plekanec with a 3-point night. Here we go. Will history repeat itself? Or will we be able to force Game 7? There will be a Game 7. We have come back from 3-0 down to tie this series. We are going to Game 7. I didn't even notice. Actually, I guess Pietrangelo was just bumped up. He's okay. Game 7. Do we know what the official word is in the West? Winnipeg swept Chicago. The winner of this game takes on the Jets in the Stanley Cup Final. Can we rewrite history and outlast the Rangers? No, we cannot. The Rangers take it 3-2. Derek Dorsett leads the way. Kreider scored the winning goal. Chris Kreider scores the winning goal to knock out this Montreal super team en route to potentially winning the Stanley Cup. Did the Rangers win it? They did. We lose in 7. Kreider scores the winner, and the Rangers go on to win the Cup over the Jets. I have no words.